Good evening, I'm Brandon Morano. Inflation, we talk about it almost every day now. Now, while we're paying more from everything to gas to groceries, some corporations are reaping record profits and they're not being quiet about it. Dozens of CEOs have bragged about jacking up prices higher than just adjusting to inflation. Now, one of those being the CEO of a medical company who boasted in their company's Q1 2022 earnings call that his team did, quote, an amazing job of driving higher prices. Take a listen to this. It's part of today's ABC podcast. Start here.
And offset the amount of inflation. The team is very focused on looking at the extra inflation that's coming in. They're already working on higher.
Northeastern University reopened today after an employee reported being injured by an exploding package. Officials are now trying to figure out whether or not it was a hoax. Now, early voting in Illinois started today, and there are already problems across the state. It's mainly due to the Democrat ballot for governor. A judicial ruling tomorrow will determine if Governor Pritzker's only opponent, Beverly Miles, remains on the Democratic ballot. Now, this coming after not one, not two, but three objections to the legality of Miles' candidacy.
And I tell people I left the military, but the military never left me. So we're used to working hard. We're used to being up against some challenges, and I'm in for the fight.
That fight is already causing confusion in Illinois primaries. The Illinois State Board of Elections tells me if you've already voted and Miles' name is on your ballot, like this sample ballot here, you might have to vote again if she's removed. The Board of Elections also saying they're leaving the decision about the legitimacy of those ballots up to their counties and the respective state's attorney. That means if you voted with Miles' name on the ballot in one county, it could count. In others, you may have to cast your vote again. But that's just the tip of the back and forth between the two opposing Democratic gubernatorial camps.
When it was ruled in my favor that I was to be on the ballot, I began to receive some harassing phone calls, asking me to get out the race, offering me money, not by JB, but people that affiliated.
Now, I talked with a spokesperson with Governor Pritzker's campaign. She tells me, quote, these accusations are patently false and utterly absurd. A judicial hearing tomorrow will determine if Miles remains on the Democratic gubernatorial ballot.
Allegations of sexual and disability discrimination from a former Jefferson County correctional officer. Good evening, I'm Julie Williams.
And I'm Brandon Morano. That officer was fired for what Jefferson County Sheriff Jeff Bullard says were multiple instances of not properly following policies and procedures. Today, I talked to both the former correctional officer's lawyer and Sheriff Bullard about those allegations. Former Jefferson County Correctional Officer Mary Jo Conaway alleges she was sexually discriminated against for a disability, among other things, in a 55-page lawsuit.
The allegations are without merit. They're baseless. It's a frivolous lawsuit, and one that we have contested from its inception, and we will continue to contest.
That's Jefferson County Sheriff Jeff Bullard's take, but Mary Jo Conaway's lawyer, Jerome Dobson, thinks differently.
We think it is a very meritorious claim. We believe that, for example, with respect to the disability discrimination, there were actions taken against Ms. Conaway that really exacerbated her condition.
Dobson says one example was moving Conaway to the control room permanently for 12-hour shifts, a room he says essentially no other officer spends more than 4 hours in per shift. The lawsuit claiming the control room made Conaway's condition of constant migraines worse.
She has not been discriminated against based on her gender or any medical condition. We would not do that here. And her disciplinary history has brought it to the point where she no longer works here.
We believe the evidence will support a claim that they made their mind up well before they ever even interviewed Ms. Conaway. They knew what outcome they wanted. They saw an opportunity to use an incident and fire her over it, even when the facts were disputed.
Then the claim that a camera was set up in the control room to find out if Conaway was on her phone during her shift there, something against policy.
To place a camera under the table, pointed at her below the waist without her knowledge. Do they think that is an appropriate way to do business? We don't think it is.
Ms. Conaway had already had repeated safety violations of our no cell phone in control policy They believed it was a cell phone, so they requested my permission to put an additional camera in the control room, one that would be in a position to see Ms. Conaway's hands and what she was holding in her hands, and that was the intent of the camera.
Bullard says attorneys for the county have filed a summary motion to dismiss the case, but as of now, both sides will get to make their arguments October 24th at a bench trial at the Benton Federal Courthouse.
Yes.
And I'm Brandon Morano. Tonight, we begin with an act of bravery encouraged by an 11-year-old in McCracken County. Lucas Taylor is being hailed a hero after putting his own safety at risk, helping his classmates escape a flooding school bus. Take a look.
The bus you're on runs off the road into rising floodwater. A scary moment for almost anyone.
People need to get to safety, and I wanted to help.
Unless your name is Lucas Taylor.
First kid I saw, I just grabbed their hand and I took them to the back to open the door and help them get into the bus driver's arms so they could take him to land.
Putting his own safety at risk, Taylor took action immediately, helping 5 other students, some injured, get off the bus and out of the near freezing water.
Because one girl sprained her foot, one girl broke her leg, and one hurt her back.
Little did he know, his story of heroism was quickly spreading around school.
I said we started hearing the stories from teachers, that the children and their parents were reaching out, and then seeing the response on social media. You know, there was tons and tons of likes and shares, and just glad that a story like this can get shared.
Deputies at the McCracken County Sheriff's Department took notice too, surprising Lucas at school, honoring him with the Citizen Meritorious Achievement Certificate and Sheriff's Coin.
That's rare to find, in a young man like that took it upon himself to realize, hey, there's an issue, there's danger, and to make sure that all his bus mates were off and safe, and before he even took consideration of himself. And that's just, in my opinion, that's a brave young man.
A brave young man his parents couldn't be more proud of.
It shows that chivalry is not dead, and in maybe in some small corners of the world, it's still being celebrated. So definitely proud of him with the citation of bravery and the certificate and the challenge coin from the McCracken County Sheriff's Department.
These awards serving as a constant reminder of the courage displayed by 11-year-old Lucas Taylor.
I just wanted to do it, and I guess God was helping me do it.
In Paducah,
it's pretty shiny.
Brandon Morano, News 3.